I think we are here. Hold on one second, y'all. There she is. There she is. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Thanks for inviting me to the matinee issue.
Absolutely, absolutely. I told you, I'm flexible. I'm as flexible as I can be with this right now, because one of the big things for me was just to really. She scrambled a little bit. The big thing for me is just to get the message out there, and I want to get whatever message is on the forefront of our village out there, and then we talk. We're gonna wait for a second. Is that you? Did you scramble that like that, or is that just scrambled like that?
What?
Oh, okay. So it was like all these horizontal lines on your screen. It looked like you were turning the TV to a channel that you didn't really subscribe to. Like, remember back in the day? It was like that for like, I don't know, 30 seconds.
Oh, wow. No, I can see you clearly.
I can see you clearly now.
I can see me through there. I never saw any.
Yeah, don't worry about it. If it happens on my end, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen on your end. But as long as the audio stays there, we can go cameraless if we need to. But right now, as long as the audio is good. So I think, you can hear me clearly though?
I got you. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I know we're up, and I just want to double check. If we're on Facebook, that means YouTube's already picked it up too. So I just want to double check and see if we're on Facebook. Oh, there we are. And we both are there. Yep, we are both there. So I appreciate everybody checking out Freedmen Media. I am in the midst of doing a series of interviews with people from our village. And this lady right here, I think we've probably only actually met a couple times. I mean, I've been in and out of the restaurant several times. You were never there, which was really rare, because they were like, she just left, and this, that, and the other. And then I seen you walking down the street. Can't miss the glasses, can't miss the hair. So I would always know who you were. Today you don't have the glasses on. You got the bandana. You usually have a red bandana. Usually you're blooding it up. Today you cripping. I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know if you changing sets or what. So
I switch it up. It's usually black. I usually wear a black one. Okay. Now you wear the red for the rosy thing. I know you wear. I just have like 10 bandanas that I rotate through because my hair is really short, but it still falls in my face. So cooking and life and just keeping my hair contained.
I get it. Okay. I thought it was because of the rosy. Yeah. Okay.
Nah, just a coincidence.
Just a coincidence. Got it. So I want to clear some shit up today. So I'm clearing that up already. So she didn't change sets, and she doesn't wear the red for the rosy. It's just she's got a bunch of bandanas, and you just pull one out. Yeah,
and no crip association, no blood association. It's all neutral.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm good with that. That's why I wear all black, because I don't want to be leaning to one side or another. But for those who don't know who she is, her name is Bethany. And we know her as B in the village. We know her as B Roll. And she was the founder and owner operator of Beezy's Cafe from 2008 to 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
An incredible run. Let me just congratulate you. I know you've been congratulated before, but let me just congratulate you on a run in a business that's hard enough to run as a team, as a family. You did it as a woman, and you did it in a very tough market because you're a tweener. You're downtown, but you're by Eastern's campus, it's really tough to get money there, especially when people can't pull up to your restaurant. Yeah. Now they can pull in the back, but you didn't really have a lot of parking there either because you're sharing that parking lot with a ton of other businesses. And the dynamic of it for people that don't know the area, they just don't understand how difficult it actually was for you to shovel food out of this place without having any parking access.
Yeah.
Without having a real built-in base. What most businesses close 4 or 5 o'clock. So to try to do something during the night when you got most of that stuff shutting down, you don't have a lot of foot traffic. You had an incredible run from 2008 to 2019. And as I said, I wasn't going to focus on, I know the business is closing or closed. And it's one of those things where I guess, all good things come to an end, but I felt like it came to an end when you left. I felt like it came to an end when you left. One of those several people that doesn't watch my videos and just chooses to call me whenever. So I just send them right to voicemail. I don't really even care anymore. If you don't know I'm live when I put my stuff up and we're all on social media and stuff, and you just call me, you don't get the respect of me actually answering. I just send you right to voicemail. And I check my voicemails probably once every 6 months. So I'll catch up to them, right around Christmas. But yeah, you did some things down there, and I respect the culinary game because I've been in and out of it for so long. My first real job was at a restaurant, and I learned how to present food the right way and went on to have owned a couple restaurants and things like that. So I love food, not just eating it. I know I look like I love food, but you were a true foodie though. I mean, you were a person that you did stuff in the business that I couldn't do. You were able to create, everything that I've ever done in the culinary world, as far as a proprietor, it was already kind of set in stone. I mean, I did chicken and fish or barbecue and this, that, and the other. You were really able to create your menu. And if it was, not to say there was a mistake, but you could do something and put an egg on top of it. And it was just supposed to be an over easy egg. It was beautiful. But if that yolk cracked, it was even more beautiful, you know. If it ran onto the cheese, it was, you were able to do stuff like that. And I've never been able to create that way on that type of level. So I always respected that. I never had anything that I got the same twice. Like whatever I would get, it always tasted good. It would but it looked different and the portions were always ridiculous. So I just felt like a lot of times you gave way too much food, but I didn't complain.
Just
you didn't see me coming back complaining, but I want to congratulate you on that run. I want to congratulate you on sticking with it the way you did. So I'm long-winded, so understand that. And I'm only keeping you here for an hour anyway. You got a date. So I want to make sure that I get that out before we get into talking about some other things, because you left the business in 2019, but you really didn't leave the business. You helped out a bit after that, right?
No.
Oh, you did walk away all the way. I thought there was some, like, you hung out and helped them do some things. Did you do that up to the point that you left?
I did that up to the point I left.
Okay.
And then was like, I need a break. But I'd offered the new management my services to, like, if they needed some transition help, coaching, counseling, if they needed me to be like the bad guy and yell at people that, they weren't doing things right. So I put myself up for that because I did keep a stake of ownership, like a really small percent. And then we ended that in 2020.
Okay.
But, so I didn't hear much. People kind of, some of the staff stayed in touch with me.
Okay.
But the folks in charge were pretty arm's length. So I just kind of rolled out and cried a little bit that my baby didn't want anything to do with me anymore. And I've just been figuring out stuff on my own. And then the pandemic hit. So I've been taking this time to really reevaluate my life and make some changes.
Okay. So that gets rid of one of the rumors. Because I was told that you kind of stayed on as more of a silent,
I wanted to. Huh? I wanted to, but I was more like a silent and never utilized partner. So.
Okay. And to be honest with you, that is silly, seeing that you were that place. Okay.
I know, but I'm also difficult to deal with. Like, I am a pain in people's ass. So I could understand them being like, you know what, like, let's take this in a new direction. Let's let B chill out. She put in a lot of work for a long time. And like, I think there was a lot of that. There was a little like, we want to leave her alone. And also we don't want to deal with the shitstorm that she constantly creates in her wake. So, you know.
Shitstorm. And okay. And I know that you can be a difficult person because you're a good business person. Mm-hmm. Anybody that's a good business person is generally difficult to deal with. Also, a person, I don't really use the word taskmaster. But I know that you are all about people doing what they needed to do. I knew a couple people that worked there. And we had a few meetings there when we were working up on the legalization stuff. Yeah. And, you know, I met a few people through there, met them in there, and then dealt with them outside of the place. And I think one of the things that I heard the most consistent was that you were brutal if you weren't really on your shit. Now, if you were on your shit, you were good to work with. But if you were one of those people that people were, and frankly, I think this generation is soft. I don't think this generation really understands work ethic the way we may have come about it. You know, we got yelled at just because we were humans. And now when you raise your voice at someone nowadays, it might just be to get their attention. It might not be in anger. Well, they can't take that. Now we got to go through sensitivity training and shit because we raise our voice above a 3, you know? Sure. So yeah, I get it. But I also didn't get that. So the rumor was that you stayed on and then you were able to let it go and let it fly and then it sunk. Okay, no big deal. So now I know that was all false. And when you did walk away, you really were burnt out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to speak to the rumor part, what had happened, I guess it's partially true, just the way it's framed, is it? Because the investors came on in 2017, like the end of 2017. So I stayed on there, but I had intended that I would keep going. I thought that I'd be rejuvenated and everything would be great. And then I hung for about 1.5 years. And then I resigned formally, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if the owners were going to hang on. I wanted my staff to keep its job. I wanted the community to have the cafe because it had become that place. Right. And like, I had my suspicions that without my voice, things might not work the same, because I have a voice and I have a lot of reasons for the things that I do, and I stand up for them and I work really hard to execute that. Right. So, you know, that's where I'm brutal. It's like, you know, it's all simple stuff, but if you don't do it right, then it doesn't work. Right. There's no room for error in that business, you know, especially if you're not getting people drunk at the same time.
This is very true. And that was what I wanted to touch on too. You didn't serve liquor.
Nope.
You didn't serve liquor, and to have a restaurant nowadays, to be able to do numbers, and not a breakfast joint, but a restaurant, you were open all day, and not sell liquor is a feat within itself. And for people that are outside the restaurant game, they really don't understand how difficult it is to get bodies in the seats if you don't have a liquor license. You know, because people drink from the time you open up at 11 o'clock, people can start drinking. Right. If you open up at 9 o'clock, you know, and you got a drink menu, people will get a mimosa, a Bloody Mary, or whatever, you know. And you didn't sell liquor, but you did have a unique menu, a lot of homegrown products, a lot of, you know, you kept it local. And I think that's why, and it's unfortunate that I did move away for a bit and I wasn't able to patronize as much as I wanted to. I love eateries like that. I love eateries that cater to their village and stay within what they do. Yeah. Anybody can come in and drop big box stuff on you, and it's just like everybody else. But your food didn't taste like anybody else's in Ypsi, Ann Arbor, or any other surrounding area. And that was great. That's what brought people in.
Yeah, I wanted it to taste like you were actually coming to see your friends and they were cooking for you. So that
I love my bread being burnt. When my bread got burnt, I mean, because I'd be like, I need my toast well done. I need my bread well done. When it got burnt, I felt like I was at home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want. That's what you really want. I don't want my cheese perfectly sitting on my sandwich. I want it running off a little bit. I want to pull that little cheese off.
A little messy and like.
Yeah, that's real food.
Yeah.
That's real food. And how did you train your people? Did you train them to be like you? Or did they all individually have their own personalities? You gave them the training? Because everybody, I mean, literally everybody had a ridiculous attitude when I come in there. I'd be so happy when I left. And what was it? Was it the fountain of youth? Was it the water? There was the
yeah.
Oh my God.
I think both. It's like I hired people that had a personality that I was attracted to, that they were going to provide something that represented the things I care about. So I didn't want them to be like me, but I wanted them to, have an aspect that they could share with people and tap into that. And I trained people from that angle of like, personality, progress, and passion for something. And, I wanted it to be focused on what we were doing there, but what we were doing there, food was only one part of it. The community, the people who looked forward to coming in daily, a couple times a day, a couple times a week, once a month, they made connections with people. So that part of the training often came really naturally. So I let people be themselves. And then, like the nuts and bolts kinds of things, like, cash handling to cutting bread to scrambling the eggs. There was a learning curve there for sure. But, for many years, I was the only person who even cooked in the kitchen. And then when I got pregnant with Ziggy in 2012, I started training a couple of people, and then it was still a pretty like sacred spot. Like only a few people could really do the eggs the way I wanted the eggs to get done.
Right.
So things like that, we kept pretty close, but everybody else, it was simple, honest food, right? So like I made it intentionally hard to fuck up. Like if you just do the simple stuff right, then it turns out great. No trendy crap. No, it's like, here's some real food. Right. Here's how you put it together. And then if you're there and you're present, it doesn't matter if you're making food or, taking trash, whatever. Like if your heart's there, you're going to have something with people. And that's what I wanted. And that's what we did. And that was great.
And like I said, it was an incredible run. I never had a year that would go by and people would say, Bees kind of fell off, or, they're not doing this and they're not doing that. Hell, probably the only gripe that I ever heard was people would go there and they'd want to drink and you didn't serve liquor. But other than that, it was never anything about the environment and the way you had things set up. It was so open and free with your employees. You made it easier for them to have that type of workspace, because it was kind of like working around home. You made it
it's hospitality focused, and hospitality is different than service. So right. And they gotta overlap some in order to
I got treated really well, whether it be early in the morning, middle of the day, you're busy. And then I knew you guys were about to close. I never was fed a meal or felt like I was being hurried or that I was being a bother or whatever. And when I frequent a place, I frequent it different than another person. I already know I'm going to get food. So that part of my mentality is settled. What I'm looking for is the service, and cleanliness was never an issue. It was always just something, so I was always looking. Once I learned the lay of the land, I was always looking for that good conversation there. Some of the stuff that would be going on behind the scenes and you'd hear people talking, you could literally jump in conversations, go through the whole process of getting your meal. And, if you're eating in, that person might end up coming out. Hey, you need anything else? Or man, I was like, I was going to go grab some water. I'll go, I'll get it for you. Wasn't that they had to, it was just that they did. And that had to come from you. That had to come from your spirit. And because they didn't feel like they were in a service job, they felt like they were in a hospitable job. Some people are very hospitable by nature, and you just got to bring that out of them to give them what they needed to do. What was the biggest challenge just being North Washington, across from a strip club? I mean, what was the biggest challenge being down in that area for 11 years for you?
I mean, it changed all the time. Okay. In 2008, when I opened, that was like the first wave of gentrification, right? And people thought that I was, like some white girl from Ann Arbor that just wanted to, make Ypsi mine. And I was just like, that wasn't me either. And I just kind of stuck my nose down and did my work and built community, like by talking to actual people across the counter. So that was tough because that was not something I had thought that I would have to face, because I just didn't think of it that way. Like I was a poor kid growing up with a single mom, and I was the oldest of 3 kids, and I moved all over the country, and I fell into the restaurant business. And then like I had a lot of, I was lucky, I worked hard, and like I've been able to be charming enough in the right context with the privileges that come with that, right? So things fell into place for me, but it's not like nobody handed me a bunch of money and was like, do whatever you want. So, the social angle of that was really interesting and a lot to work through, but I was so busy.
Right.
The other thing, it sounds silly now, but I never expected to be a breakfast restaurant. So I just kind of had a couple things on the menu. I opened with a 4-burner range and a convection oven. Like I didn't have a griddle, I didn't have a broiler, we didn't even have more than 1 ticket printer. So it was like people called the orders out to me verbally. And the first Saturday we were open, I did probably 150 breakfasts. And I was like, what? I didn't expect that. And at that time, the place only sat about 30.
So you hadn't broke out that second wall then?
Okay. Yeah, well, it was, I was paying for the space at that point, but I couldn't afford to open it. I needed to open the doors and start generating some revenue.
Damn, you really were a poor white girl. You really were poor.
I really was a poor white girl.
Damn. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. So it was like I ran out of money and I had to generate some revenue, and so I had to open the doors, put up, and then that was, it was like a year later that we opened that room, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, you're so successful! You're expanding already." And I just was like, "Yeah, I'm expanding. I'm finally opening the room that I've been paying for all the time."
Right.
So like business stuff is just straight up hard, but I think the shift in the community, I never hung out with the cool kids around town, so I wasn't in any of the business groups and stuff. And I like a lot of the business owners downtown, but I thought a lot of what was happening was just, copying the Chamber of Commerce or copying all these things that people have been doing for forever. And they don't really work.
Right.
Nobody was, I wanted to think more creatively. I wanted to do things that were a little outside the norm. I wanted to give, like Chef CJ, like you want to come in and do ribs at night. I'm not using the place at night. We did the Washington Street tutoring lab. Here's opening it up to 826 Michigan after hours. Here's a bunch of school kids coming in, getting one-on-one tutoring help. Where there's a strip club here, there's a bar there, and like this really just like this can all coexist. We don't have to have a sanitized community. And I feel like there's a lot of riffs with that over the years too, because you had a lot of people saying things like, "Oh, I love Ypsi, it's so real, it's so gritty," and I'm like, but like you don't talk to anybody on the street. You just like the idea that, but you don't actually like, like I don't like the shitty stuff that goes on downtown. But ignoring it doesn't make it go away. Like having conversations, knowing where there's resources, being people with people, So I ruffled some feathers with a lot of that stuff too. But I don't know what was really the hardest thing. I mean, people change, the landscape changed.
Yeah.
I think rather than what was hard, it's like one of the coolest things I saw was over the years, probably the last 5 or 6 years especially, was that businesses were opening with more of a social conscience. They weren't opening up to just be like the ice cream boutique and it was like, people were like, we want to see things work. We want to do it right. We're not just going to be open and be all precious about it. We're going to work really hard to make a great place, and we're going to give back to the community, and we're going to make room for everybody that's here. So, I think of Go Ice Cream. I'm good friends with Rob Hess, and he's done a great job with that. I don't know. Yeah, like I don't think that a lot of businesses would have opened so community minded, perhaps, if not for how vocal I was about it. I didn't do that intentionally. That's just who I am, and so it happened.
and I'm glad you did. I definitely want to say hello to Rochelle, to Frida, to OG Classic Jones, 3 of my most loyal followers. When I say followers, I don't mean like followers like they follow me and do what I say do. They, whether I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Hap Space, if I'm broadcasting, they're there. So I want to say hello to them. They have said hello to you, said welcome, Freedmen Media, Miss B. You're never late, brother. You're never late. I already told you that. And Rochelle, thank you for being the first person to tap in. If you can, Free, I need this to go to all 3 of the Ypsilanti pages. If you can share us while we're live. We've only got B for about another 20 minutes, but I want to talk to her about the state of Ypsilanti a little bit, because you did change that landscape business-wise. I felt like when you came in at the beginning of what we now know as our first Black president.
Yeah.
Where I thought there were going to be a lot of opportunities for places like an Ypsi, for places like an Inkster, city of Detroit, places where it was densely populated with Black traffic.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen the way I thought it would happen. Now, a lot of things don't happen because of the way I think, but I thought that things were going to turn around for businesses. It looked like there was an influx of businesses, but that was right around when the housing crash and all that stuff was happening too. So people that might have been holding on to a mortgage and running a business in the downtown area had to pick and choose. So they might have had to walk away from their business. Black Americans, as we know now, we didn't put a lot of pressure on Barack Obama to do things to open up resource channels for us. We were just more enamored that we had someone in the space that looked like us, and not advocating for us. So I look at that time period and where people were able to hold on and get past, much like the last several months that we've had to deal with. I try not to say the name and the virus and all that stuff because they screw with your streams, but people had to hold on like that. People had to hold on because they just didn't know exactly what else was going to happen. Now, you came in at a time where there weren't a lot of restaurants. I can't remember who was around that 08, 09 time because I was actually still in Redford. But who was your competing businesses in the corridor at that time?
What was it? There was nothing open at my, Bombadil's Cafe was on Michigan Avenue.
Right.
Cafe Luwak, but I wasn't really a coffee shop and I wasn't really a cafe, I was I wasn't trying to compete. There's Coney Island, there's Abe's, there's Luca's down the street.
Right.
I was doing breakfast and lunch and in the beginning was open until about 6. But there was after 2:00, everybody just wanted a beer. So they went to the tap room. They went to what was across the street where clubs. It was like Savoy and
was that the piano bar, the dueling pianos and all that stuff?
Yep. Yeah. So that was open, and I think they were open for lunch. And then the Mongolian Grill opened up, and that didn't last very long. Then that turned into Bonacera. But yeah, what's funny is I didn't really keep track of other people's business. I used to joke that the reason I was doing so all right was that I literally minded my own business.
And the crazy thing was you weren't a copycat and you were an innovator and all you really needed was the traffic because that was telling that Mongolian Grill comes and leaves. Yeah. When a big box comes and folds up tent,
I think it was an independent version of Mongolian. I want to say that the dude who closed up the piano bar place, he got into some trouble with DT. I don't remember the details, but there was some shenanigans. He tried to do it independent and it just didn't fly. So
okay, so it wasn't the actual because I don't even remember it. I was just like, damn, they must have came and.
There's been, this came up the other day on Facebook, but Opio at United Sons, he was one of my first business contacts, and I felt I felt so lucky because I was already feeling the pressure of like, I'm the white girl opening the fancy breakfast place, and I'm gonna, like nobody's gonna support me. Like this town is largely Black, and everybody downtown owned a Black business. There, you got all the barbers, you got the salons, you got all this stuff going on, and then you had like Opio, and he was like literally dragging people into the place, and I was like, that felt great. And he's just a good dude overall.
Sure.
But like, so all those folks, and then I remember, was it Blackstone Bookstore opened up, and Carlos and I can't remember the other dude's name.
Yep.
But like that started happening, and then since I left, I actually have no idea what's going on downtown. Like I don't know who's opened up, and I think the pandemic stuff has made it all like it's hard to even have an opinion about how and where people are doing business because everybody's trying to make it work.
Right. And unfortunately, to me, I believe the city is stagnant right now. Not any fault of the business owners. I don't believe the business owners are doing themselves, any injustice. I believe the city is stagnant because politically, I think they are just wallowing right now. They're not making moves the way they've made in years past. I was working for an ad company before I got real serious and dealing with cannabis and food. So I was working for an ad company, and we were dealing a lot with the Ann Arbor Chamber. And I ended up going down to the chamber one day, and they were talking about how Ypsi basically was like Ann Arbor Junior. Trying to cultivate it. And this is 17, 18, so they were really trying to do a lot at that time with Ypsilanti and not make them feel, because I don't like this moniker, but not make them feel like little brother.
Yeah.
And they really wanted Ypsi to stand on its own because Ypsi had so much to offer individually. It had its own attitude. Ypsi is by no way, I'm from Ann Arbor and I'm proud of Ann Arbor, and I have no problem with saying that. But but Ypsi is not Ann Arbor, and Ann Arbor is not Ypsi. They both have their own identities, and Ypsi was such a unique place and built by common folk. Right. Ann Arbor at one time could definitely say the same, but Ypsi still held on to that common folk mentality. I never felt there was going to be a big box downtown, and when they seemed like they were trying to lean towards that, I saw things faltering. Ypsi downtown, for one, it's literally built for walking traffic. It's built for it. So you need those types of places where a person goes out of one door, goes into this door, goes into this door. If I'm getting a carryout sandwich and I'm walking down the street and I walk up the street and I see the used music equipment place, I might just stand there and look in the window and look at his music equipment until I finish my sandwich and then go in there, mess around a little bit. You want that type of environment down there. You want businesses that are going to be able to connect people's energies. For some reason, it seemed like they started to turn against that and started to look for more big box type stuff. It doesn't work in a community like this. Yeah. Very, very localized community. It's just like I've always told people, and when I was in radio, syndicated radio really didn't work in Detroit really well for a long time because Detroit radio listeners are about Detroit. They want to hear Detroit. Every break, they want to hear you saying something about Detroit or Michigan. They don't want to hear what's going on in New York and what's going on in LA. They don't give a fuck. They want to know what's going on in Detroit. And it's the same with Ypsilanti. People want to know what's going on. And your restaurant it was Ypsi. It dripped with Ypsi. So I could definitely understand, bringing people in there and people falling in love with the business. I can definitely understand people like CJ, who I promote CJ's products and things like that. I have no problem with upping people. It's just through my history, I've had a problem with reciprocation. So that's why I don't fuck with a lot of people anymore. I've learned in my old age that if they're not loving me now, with what I've done for people over the years, they ain't never gonna love me. So fuck them, and I gotta move on. I've got energies for the youngins, and I've got energies for the disenfranchised and for the people that need help. But anybody else walking around this motherfucker, if you haven't jumped in where I'm at now with what I'm trying to do around here, fuck you. I don't care, because if you do it now, you're just doing it because you think my wheels are turning and shit. Well, my wheels have always been turning. 3 of them have been flat. but shit, the
motherfuckers go around.
Yeah, they've been moving. So you were just a person. You were a trailblazer, and I don't know if this term could ever be used enough with you, but you were a trailblazer, and you started out something that I thought would have caught on like wildfire. We tried to do some stuff right at the corner there, and I don't know if that's all Beal property, but at the corner, there was a corner office. We tried to do some things there in 11, 12. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
that's not, I don't think that's Beal. Definitely wasn't.
They wanted for rent.
Yeah.
I was like, are you fucking serious? I mean, it was just like, I'm like, you do realize where we're at, right? And I knew why I was looking for the space, but I was also looking for the space because if that restaurant pops up, because it had been open and closed, ale house or whatever the shit is.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You had that there, you there. We weren't doing anything that was going to really be catering with food, but we were going to have floor traffic where people were going to eat. So if I can bring people downtown to and they'll be like, well, where's somewhere to eat? And I can say here or here.
Here.
During the day, they were open at night, but they were we could never get anything worked out with the rent. So I just said, fuck it. I just left it alone. And that place stayed empty for months, maybe years.
It's a black-owned real estate office now, I think.
And it may be in there.
Last I knew.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's good. That's good. But also what I hated to see too were Black-owned businesses get down there and they look like they were moving in for the first year that they were there.
Yeah.
Having 3 or 4 items on your shelf, I've been there. So I knew what that life was like. Yeah. And you've got to at least look the part. I mean, there's no other way to fake it till you make it, except by faking it to the fullest. I mean, I'm talking about it's a situation you've got to go all in, and everybody doesn't always want to go all in on a business opportunity where you didn't have anything, and the first real dollars you started to make, you could have easily pocketed those dollars and say, I'm going to start living a little bit better and cutting back, but you kept putting it back into the restaurant. And I saw that, there were years that I didn't go as frequently because I was in Wayne County, but I saw the growth of what you were trying to do and and it was so funny when we got into that legalization space and they said they wanted to have a meeting. They're like, we need someplace downtown. We've got the Third Coast guys coming. We got the herbal solution guys coming. I'm like, just do it at Beezy's. They're like, what's Beezy's? I was like, you fucking kidding me? I was like, to get to herbal, you got to walk by Beezy's. I was like, so how do you not know where this restaurant is? I was like, so here's the thing. When you're going to go to Herbal's, look up to your right when you come out of the parking lot, out of the alleyway. And I was like, you'll see the sign. And nobody ever knew it was there because everybody just always turned left and went and got weed instead of turning right. And
we got a lot of customers from Herbal Solutions. So
absolutely.
Thanks for initiating that.
was there any cross promotion with any of those type businesses? Because I know cannabis businesses get a bad run, and I'm not sure exactly why they don't get the same type of attitude or why liquor stores don't get the same attitude as cannabis businesses. But did you have any type of cross promotions with Herbal or Third Coast or the shop or anybody down there?
No, I never did much of that anyway. That just wasn't my.
Okay.
Yeah, so I never really printed coupons.
It was for them to send their people down. Yeah. I would have done it if I was managing one of those spaces. I would have told people like, look, we got great eateries down there, because at that stage we still had a lot of people coming from Indiana and Ohio.
I think they did verbally send a lot of people our way. Yeah, so
I tried.
You could tell when people came in, like what they ordered, what their recent purchases were,
Right.
Feel me?
Right. I got you.
You want to add what on your? Okay. Did you just come from Herbal Solutions? All right. Yeah, I got a pre-roll. Okay, sweet. I can smell it. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that was convenient. I'm sure. Was it the Rocket Candy Store right next to them? Probably had a boost in walk-in munchies sales too, but
that's true.
Not the stereotype that everyone who smokes weed then needs to eat, but it has proven to play out pretty truly.
You had the chips, everything. Like I said, everything was locally angled, and I love that. The one thing that I couldn't tell people, like, unless they went. I was like, I can't explain the place, but like those old places that you would go, you felt like My grandmother used the term trading. You know, she used the term, you felt like you were trading at your place, like you were going in. It was, even though you were taken care of by your staff, you could go in and grab your pop and grab your chips and all that stuff and walk around, where a lot of these places are all bulletproof now. And, you know, they got to grab all the stuff for you, anything of what that you want. You kept it so open.
Yeah.
I know that Ypsi gets a bad name, you know, and hell, now in Ann Arbor, you know, Ann Arbor's got its spaces too for theft. You never worried about stuff like that. You kept stuff on the floor so people could serve themselves. And that's another thing. I mean, a trusting environment is a winning environment. I've made several of the gas stations around Ypsi pull that fucking glass back, especially during the day. Like, look, bro, you can't hear me. I'm talking and I talk very clearly. You can't hear me because we got 3 inches of glass between us. So pull that shit back so I don't have to fucking bust a pipe here. And I know why they have it up there. I understand the dynamic of it. But if you can't hear me and you still are willing to have that glass between us, I'm not doing business here. And
right. Why would you want to give somebody money that,
the place right there next to the shop over coming off the highway, he had his pistol right on the counter one day, pointed out towards the patron. I'm like, put that away.
Yeah.
He was like, well, we need it for protection. I was like, look, I'm about to give you some fucking money for this banana and a bag of chips. I was like, so I don't think you need that right now, you know? And he was reluctant, but he ended up putting the motherfucker away. And I was like, and don't put it back on the counter when these people come up to the counter either, because ain't none of these motherfuckers gonna rob you anyway.
Yeah.
And that's the way I talk to him, because I don't care. You should not have a pistol pointed towards your patrons who are paying for your fucking Mercedes or BMW or whatever sitting outside. And then you race off to your neighborhood after you leave here. And
I recognize that people feel the need to protect, you know, themselves and the community, but that, you said it, like, we can't all, I don't mean to be like all Pollyanna innocent about stuff, because we definitely had our share of theft. Pieces we've broken into a couple times, but I didn't let that change. Like, I really think that we change the world by creating the world that we want. And it's like, when you have a trust and hope for, like, most people do the right thing almost all of the time.
Right.
Like, that's how this world works. And once you start fostering this fear and like, we're all isolated from each other and there's plate glass up everywhere, it's like, that's just going to breed more of that. And then everybody's going to have, like, it sounds stupid to just be like negative vibes, man, but it's like, it's not necessary almost always. And I don't know, that makes me sad for Ypsi, but I don't know, like, I don't want to understand it. Like, I get it, but we can do better than that. We can do better than that.
And I believe it comes from, a lot of times, had a discussion last night with Karan Gaines. We've talked about being an occupant, being a resident, and being a citizen of Ypsilanti.
Sure.
And when you don't take it upon yourself to have a citizen mind state, when you just feel like you're a resident who, you know, you can just up and move, or even an occupant that you know you're just here for a temporary status, you're not going to put as much pride in as a citizen would. So that's definitely something. Now, hold on one quick second, brother Otis. I got an elder that I totally respect in the spaces that I run with politically. I will definitely DM you on Twitter, brother Otis. It will probably be my very first DM on Twitter. I am so bad on Twitter. Like, I got into a Twitter beef and I didn't even know it, because I did something and then I didn't come back for a couple of days and I got ran on Twitter. I didn't even know it. And it says, and you also, a brother would have said, I wonder if she'd like to talk. Don't be a Oh, okay. I think that's about Roland Martin. So I'm not sure. We'll definitely talk. But yeah, I look at taking care of the village. I think it's, if you feel like you're supposed to be there, you'll take care of it more. And I think there's a certain percentage of businesses that only come to get bread out of the citizens of Ypsilanti's pockets, and then they go off into the sunset or whatever. That can't continue to happen if Ypsi's going to grow. I don't care if it's a liquor store, if it's a gas station, or, you know, if it's a shop along Michigan Ave or in the off-street corridors. If you don't have a mindset that you are built for Ypsi, then you need to get the fuck out the paint, because that's not what Ypsi's about. Ypsi is about community. How the fuck do you think Hobbs has lasted?
Right.
Hobbs's food has had ebbs and flows throughout the years. I mean, they're known for their steak, the prime rib, and all that, but they've had ebbs and flows and quality control issues for years.
Yeah.
But they've stayed with it because generally whatever problem you have in Hobbs, they'll take care of it. Yeah. They know that they've had a decline in staff and decline in this, decline in that. But what there's also has been a decline in what people are looking for. When I saw them doing and I patronize it, I ain't gonna lie. When I saw them doing the happy hour shit and they were doing the little finger foods thing, I thought it was a little bit beneath Hobbs and what they were known for. They were jumping into a realm just to sell some cheap liquor and give away some fatty foods. And they really weren't giving it away, but they were selling it, but they were doing it at prices where it brought a different dynamic in there. Because there was a day that I really came in to do that type of shit, and I saw who was in there. And here my uppity ass asked for a table in the dining room, and I ended up eating a steak. Yeah. Because I didn't really want to be a part of that environment, even though I had came there for that. I just didn't want that. So I knew I would be taken care of well because and that was the thing, the difference in the service in the happy hour part from the part that people got $20 steaks, totally different. How can you do that? That person that's serving me my chicken fingers and my rib tips should be treating me the same way that I'm going to get treated over here for my ribeye. Yeah. And they allowed that, and that's why I believe that the service has gone down. And I do want to make a correction because I know you didn't do it maliciously, but I know you're all about your shit, and I'm all about my shit. Print Giants, formerly United Suns, OPO.
Oh, thanks. Okay. I didn't know that. Thank you.
But he is Print Giants now. Right. I believe the United Suns still exists, but I don't believe he's affiliated with it anymore.
Gotcha.
I believe he's Print Giant. So, and if I'm wrong, I'll take this whole fucking stream down, but I don't think so. But I know
I'm sure he'll forgive both of us regardless. So
right. And when you were talking about him, you were talking about him from the United Suns standpoint.
In that era, it was 2008, 2009 time.
So I appreciate, the fact that you've come on here, and like I told you, I'm going to get you out of here because you got a date. You and I had to have a couple more conversations because I told you we weren't going to dig into why the place closed, this, that, and the other. I just wanted to break bread with you and do some dialogue swapping because I think where I'm going in this political space, community space, I need people that are willing to get down and dirty with it. I'm dealing with people in the community now, and as I told people on a couple streams ago, I don't leave a Facebook Live every time I'm fucking with somebody in the community. I don't leave a Facebook Live every time I give $1 to a guy on the street. I don't need to do that shit. I've done it before. I've talked about how I've helped this person, that person, but literally I've gotten to a point, I saw a brother, he had a whole bunch of shit on the street. And this is kind of like my clout chase, okay? He had a whole bunch of shit on the street and he's asking for money. And I'm like, what do you do with your dollars? When you get your dollars, you should get you a backpack. And he's like, well, I usually have shopping bags, but the shopping bag I had tore. Mm-hmm. And I have these backpacks now. I get these backpacks, the Swiss Army backpacks, because they've got 437 pockets in them, and I try to fill them all up. That was a little overestimated, but you know what I mean. I'm exaggerating. So I just looked at him, and I said, okay, I got it. And I just took my backpack, and I dumped it all out on the seat. Mm-hmm. And I gave him my backpack because I rarely gave him money. I would bring food. If I had food, I'd bring him something. If I saw him at the exit, because actually he would be on an island. So if I was going to Burger King or something and I would see him on an island, I'd come back and I'd drop him off. Whatever I got, I would get like the 2 for $4 sausage, egg, cheese, or sandwich. Yeah. I'd get 2 for $4 for him. I'm not giving you any money on a regular basis. I try not to give money because I already know what you're going to kind of do with that. But I saw that he had his shit all over there, and I said, he's just one fucking person from coming around where he spins and knocks everything over. His shit will be all on the street. So I gave him my backpack. Mm-hmm. Because it just made sense for me to give him my backpack so he could put all his shit. He ain't gonna go sell my backpack. Right. And I said, put all your stuff in this, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. And I'm not as nice as people think. I'm really not, because I've learned just not to give a fuck about a lot of things. he started crying. And it fucked me up, and I started crying. So I was like a block away from my old space that I was in, and I had a fucked up day for the rest of that day. And all I did was went and put my stuff in my other backpack that I had. But I was like, damn, did I affect him that much? So I got off into some different spaces, you know, mentally before I started looking at community and things like that. I've always been about people, but now I was like, only way we're going to make this shit right is if we put boots on the ground and we get people advocating for people. I can't wait for a motherfucking politician to advocate for me. I already know they're not going to advocate for me. You were poor and white and you couldn't get any help. So if you can't get no help and you poor and white, how am I going to get some help? As much as I want reparations, as much as I want repair, the only way that's really going to get us there is we're working together and to show how fucked up it is. But we can't just sit around and cry about it and politic about it and this, that, and the other and not push people. And we got to push the right buttons. And I think the buttons that we need to push are the people in the street, because that's what you did for 11 years, B. You pushed people's buttons enough to where they just came back because you made them feel good.
Thanks, man.
You made them feel good. So I want to have a couple more conversations with you before this year's out. I'm going to give you your space for a month or two, but I'll be back at you because I'm doing
anytime. Get at me. I'd be happy to. Thanks.
And it's going to be Ypsi people. So you tell it now, is your husband's name Mayhew?
No. Well, that's a complicated situation right now. So
okay, not a problem. I just want to say Brother Mayhew, but I didn't want to say
Mayhew's my maiden name, so that's why I've been going by that. Yeah.
Tell him I got you off in time. You're gonna meet your date because I know you don't have far to travel, and you're a fast runner. So do your thing, get your rest. But I need you to get ramped up for a little bit of civic-minded stuff I got coming up, and I want you to be a part of it because you helped change Ypsi for 11 years, and now I'm gonna need some help changing it for the next 11.
Okay.
All right, lady.
Yep. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right. Bethany Mayhew, aka B-Roll, founder and former owner operator of Beezy's Cafe. We didn't even scratch the surface about what she went through as a restaurateur, as a woman working downtown Ypsi. And as she said, predominantly Black area, but truthfully, Ypsi is 70% white and 20% Black. But she just saw the Black faces. That's all, because they're in town. That's where we're at. And I'm glad people treated her well for the most part. I'm not glad that the people who came in and eventually took over the restaurant didn't take care of business, and that's why it's now closed, because that's all it is. There's no way that you take that blueprint that she set and shut it down within 2 years. And I know that they had to deal with that situation we've had to deal with for the last several months that we can't talk about without getting stripped on the stream. But if they had followed her blueprint, people would be eating there right now. People would be eating there right now. They'd be eating there months from now. So congratulations to her on her accomplishments downtown Ypsilanti. And I'll definitely be reaching back out to her because I got some civic-minded shit and some village-minded shit, really is what it is, that I want her to be a part of. So, Brother Otis, what'd you say there? Perfect your game. Absolutely. 156. What's happening, Ray? I got you. Yes, sir. And it's I think I was trying to be so cognizant of getting her out. We had a prearranged agreement that she would get out. We'll have her on and she'll run a hour and a half, 2 hours with us one day. And I think I was trying to be so cognizant to really not dig too deep into where she was, because we could have easily left something on the table and then we would have been fragmented. So I just wanted to give her quick questions to talk about and just kind of open that dialogue. But I appreciate what you're saying. You are spot on with whatever you type, or I've seen you live, brother. You are spot on, and I'm always going to take your advice because you're right. I'm very used to just really being up in this space by myself and running with it. But when I have a guest on, I have to learn to be a host and have a guest versus just being here and ripping it. So I appreciate you. I appreciate that constructive criticism, because without it, I can't get better. and I'm going to get better. So I'm not worried about that. I definitely don't think I got this shit on lock. Excuse me. I think I'm better. I haven't taken a drink in a while. I think I'm better than I was a year ago, but I don't want to be in this same space a year from now. So I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you, Free, dropping that in there. Please subscribe to the Freedmen Media YouTube channel. For anybody that's came through here, whether you're catching it on the book, you caught the link on Twitter, you're on YouTube. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. The subscribers have gone up this week, and that's a beautiful thing. Once again, thanks to Information Man for having me on as a guest. I got somebody that tentatively wants me on this weekend. We haven't confirmed it. And we want to continue to make this YouTube channel a viable space for us, because YouTube is it for putting your information out there. There's a couple other avenues that I haven't gone to yet, and I'm going to be setting that up this weekend to where I'll be doing audio streams as well. That is the world that I came from, and that is the world I did. I'm gonna B just text me, so that's funny. Her personality, like I said, we didn't scratch the surface of what her personality is, but where I need to go back to, I need to go back to my roots which is radio. I mean, I can cut my camera off here. I can cut my camera off here and I can just be vibing like that. And I may do some shows like that. I might want to be up here and I might not want to put on my all black. I might just want to sit in here with my beater and my drawers or something. But, for the most part, I want to be in here with y'all. I want to be in here with y'all. I want to see y'all. I want y'all to see me and really see how we move out here in this space, because content creating is very easy if you got content to create. I'm not going to be one of those people that's just going to come on here and talk about nothing. I can do that all day. I talk to myself all day. And, some people have said, you need to wire your shit up. So, because some of the things that I do say sometimes, I don't remember them, but I guess I've let off a few gems in my time and they weren't recorded. That's why we're going to go audio. Because going audio, I can have an audio recorder going wherever I go. And then I can go back and listen to things. And if they were worthy to upload, I can do that. I want to be accessible in this space as much as I can because it is time consuming, but I want to be working when I'm not working, and so, I have no problem. I can't even listen to all my playbacks a lot of times because I have other things going on. But I've had to make a concerted effort to do that. And for anybody that ever catches me listening to my playback, don't ask me, oh, man, you're listening to yourself? No, I'm listening to the playback. I'm listening to the quality. I want to see if it pixelated. I want to see if the sound went bad. I want to see all of that stuff. I couldn't care less about listening to myself. I listen to myself talk all fucking day. And trust me, I get tired of myself. So I definitely take that thing. I mean, I guess everybody saw that. Let me actually put it up on the thing, and I'm gonna get you on with all your stuff free. That's beautiful. Perfecting your game is the aim. So I know you're used to monologues. Pivot. Don't make the guest the background. That's real shit. That's real shit. That's an elder telling me to shut the fuck up eloquently. Sit back and let your guests do some talking. Sit back and let your guests spit. And I don't take offense to that shit because I got to get used to it. I got to get used to being able to do those things. So that's a beautiful thing. And, once again, Free, I appreciate you sending us out. Freedmen Media, definitely subscribe to the channel. You can call me Brother Shannon. You can call me Shannon. Just don't call me Sean. Don't call me Shane. Hell, if you're going to call me shithead, I'll probably accept that before Shane and Sean. And I do appreciate the love. OG Classic Jones, Rochelle Smith, anybody else that dipped in the space that didn't say anything. Brother Otis, I appreciate you. I'm gonna turn corners here. I'm actually not going to end just yet because I did say I want to switch gears. But before I switch gears, I actually want to read the text. She goes, that was fun. Thanks for having me. You almost got me to sit for almost an hour because I know she doesn't sit still. And I was like, when she asked how long it would be, because she had something set up, I was like, oh, no problem. But I already knew she does not sit still for an hour. And I know that going from that transition of where she was all day, every day, to doing, well, I wouldn't say doing nothing. She has little ones and, she has a husband and whatnot. Hey, she went from one job to another, really. And I don't know which was more difficult, but I think she had a lot of stress let off of her by walking away from the restaurant. But, I want to talk about that afterlife and talk about how, the babies now all of a sudden seen her a lot more than they seen her before. So there's a lot of transitional things that you can talk about and help people out who are getting into businesses. And, it's really hard to adapt sometimes, and change your family life to where, you fit in. Because as a owner of a business or someone that, it takes you away from the house a lot, you either become like really, really popular when you come home, or it's a drag when you come home because, you change the dynamic, and I've had both sides of that equation. And frankly, I think I'm past it all now because I know that there is a space that I'm trying to get us all to. And I let a lot of it roll off my back. And like I said, once I get to the finish line, whoever's there is there, and those who didn't stay, didn't remain, they didn't become champions, I felt kind of weird quoting Bo Schembechler right now in the state that we're in Ann Arbor and dealing with these allegations. But, he did make a quote that is stuck with hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people. Those who stay will be champions. And that's what this thing is about. We've got to stay the course. When we talk about repair and we talk about reparations, we've got to stay the course on this, and just because we get a hit with a politician here and there, we can't say we won, and just because we take a L with a politician every, here and there, we can't slow up. We got to stay on it, and it all starts locally. It all starts right at home. And if your local politicians aren't doing right by them, vote their motherfucking ass out. Get somebody else in there who is going to advocate for you, who is going to push for restorative justice and reparative justice and redress. If they're not, next candidate, please. Next candidate. So that's where I'm at with that. So we love to be serious around here, but I guess I'm serious when I'm talking about these white supremacist situations that we had to deal with in the 70s and the 80s. The 70s and the 80s brought up some bullshit. And it was basically when we started starring in sitcoms on a regular basis. A lot of times the sitcom would be sung by a black singer. Sometimes white, but a lot of times black. And we never really paid attention to the lyrics. Even if we knew the lyrics, we didn't pay attention to what they were saying. And now I'm starting to pay attention at 51 after seeing so many of these series from front to back. Hold on one quick second. Sometimes you got to take the call. What up, bro? Yeah, I'm on a live, but hold on one quick second. Let me mute my mic. Excuse me, guys. All right. Talk to you soon. All right. Appreciate you. All right. Now, unless I got some lip readers out here, y'all probably didn't understand what I was saying there, but we got some new shit that's happening right now, and I don't really want to divulge it to anybody just yet because it's gonna be a big part of my stream. It's gonna be a big part of what I do going forward, and you know, I'm not really good at keeping secrets, so I tend to let wear everything on my sleeve. And I can't have everybody knowing what we doing out here. But yeah, we've got some things popping, and you'll definitely see Freedmen Media working in some different spaces and doing some different things. So, but yeah, I was talking about the sitcoms and some of these songs. Some of the lyrics in some of these songs was really crazy to me, and I didn't realize it. I mean, we knew some of the stuff like with the Good Times jingle, and then there's a couple other ones. But I came across one that I wanted to talk about, and I'm gonna do All in the Family. I'm still deciphering a couple things out of that because I really didn't know that was a song that they redid and had to kind of edit it down to the show version. I got the long version, so I'm bringing some stuff up about the All in the Family one too. But hold on one quick second. So I don't know if you remember Give Me a Break. And Nell Carter was the star of Give Me the Break. Give me a break. Not Give Me the Break. Give Me a break. Nell, I believe, was a stage actress from the start, if I'm not mistaken. She started on the stage. I think a lot of us started on the stage because they weren't letting us be in movies, but she was a singer, and she had a great voice. She had a powerful voice, and they brought that out a lot of times in the show. They brought that out a lot of times. One thing about Hollywood, if you're multi-talented, they're gonna figure out a way to bring it out, but not necessarily pay you for it. Like she was being paid to be an actress. But I'm sure when they said, hey, we're going to write a song in the script, I don't think they gave her any extra money to write a song, to sing a song. They was just paying her to be Nell, This is the way I see it in my mind. I can't see anybody getting any extras back then, And when I get up, before I get off of here, I want to go back to, if anybody can see it, if you're out there and you got idle hands, find Gary Coleman's weekly salary on Different Strokes, if you can find that, and put it in the and I'll talk about it. I'll let you know why I want to know about that. So his weekly salary at the height of Different Strokes. But Nell Carter sang the intro to Give Me a Break. Okay, she sang the intro to Give Me a Break. Oh, and I want to definitely send a shout out to Mo Better Infusions and Topicals. Okay, they got a lot of great CBD products. Actually, I'm actually smoking one of their hemp sticks now. So I'll have them on as an actual sponsor on a regular basis in streams to come. But check out Mo Better Topicals and Infusions. Or is it Infusions and Topicals? Hold on a second. Me fucking it up right now. Infusions and Topicals. Okay. But when Nell sung the first version, now there were two versions to this song. When she sung the first version from 81 to 83, it went like this. Give me a break. I sure deserve it. It's time I made it to the top. Give me a break. I'm looking forward. Get behind me. Pull out every stop. I want a happy ending. I'm tired of pretending. Won't let them get the best of me. Whoa, 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 whoa. Give me a break. The game is survival. Give me a break and plan my arrival. Give me a break, for heaven's sake. What happened to my piece of cake? And then they go on and say, give me a break, give me a break. Oh, give me a break, give me a break. Hey, give me a break. The way I looked at this jingle, it was a cry for help. Okay, now you can say anything you want to say now, and you can go back and listen to it. I mean, if you want to, should we listen to the song? Because we listen to it, it's probably going to sound much more melodious than I made it sound, but I'm not looking to make it sound melodious. I'm just breaking down the facts. And we can go back to the first stanza. Give me a break, I sure deserve it. It's time I made it to the top. I can't quite remember exactly what Nell did before she became the maid. What was his name? Chief Kaczynski? He was a chief of police, right? He was the chief of police, and he had the daughters, and she was the maid, okay? I don't know what she did before she became the maid and where her fall from grace was, but, you know, she said, give me a break, I sure deserve it. It's time I made it to the top. So had she had a successful singing career? I don't know. I don't know the backstory of her before she became a maid for the chief, because that's a hell of a fall, not an unrealistic fall, especially for a black woman, because you can be on top. You can be on top today, and you might be sweeping up somewhere tomorrow. You might be wiping out toilets tomorrow, because that's the way life went for us. Not necessarily for everybody, but that's the way it went for us. Okay, so now I'm starting to get all this fucking, what do you call it, ad shit in here, and they want me to click on stuff. But I really want to know, like, give me a break, I sure deserve it, it's time I made it to the top. Or did she just have a lifelong struggle? Had shit just been so downtrodden, and she was like, you know what? It's about time I get a breakthrough. Like, it's about time I get a breakthrough. I want, you know, I mean, I really want to know where they came up with that, because I only ever knew her to be the maid. I only ever knew her to be the maid. I don't even remember the first episode, like how she became the maid, or was she already the maid on the first episode? I can't quite remember. Probably should go back and check that episode out. Give me a break. I'm looking forward. Get behind me. Pull out every stop. Now, when I hear get behind me, it almost sends me to that church life. Get behind me, Satan. You know what I'm saying? Is she facing demons? I mean, I know Nell Carter to have gone through bouts with drugs and alcohol and things like that. She had battles with her weight. She was morbidly obese, much like myself. You know, so she had health issues throughout, and you know, narcotics and things like that didn't make it any better. Despite her Broadway roots, Carter became a fixture on television's 80s Give Me a Break as Nell Harper, a housekeeper who helps police chief widower take care of his children. The series ran from 81 to 87. Right. So she was the maid. So she was a housekeeper. But they didn't really go into her backstory, I don't believe. We just saw that Nell could sing throughout the series. I just never knew, like, was she a nightclub singer and then something happened and then she became a domestic? Like, how did she get to where she was taking care of the chief? You know, is there a backstory that she was this nightclub singer and she had some issues and there was the chief of police and she kept getting arrested and the chief saw that she was a good person and said, hey, I got a job for you? I mean, I really want to know how that all worked out, because I really want to know how this old jingle played out. Like, what was she striving for? She's saying, give me a break, I sure deserve it, it's time I made it to the top. Or was she just seeking that better life? Raised in Birmingham, Alabama, moved to New York at age 19, began singing at supper clubs before eventually making her stage debut in Soon, a 1970 music co-star. Wow. A musical co-starring Richard Gere. So this is obviously before he became Richard Gere. I mean, this is before he became, the international heartthrob to women around the world, and obviously some men too. But that ain't my business. So learning these things about Nell Harper, and thank you, Elder, because see, that type of stuff right there, it's going to help me with hopefully this first jingle and maybe the second jingle, because I want to know why they changed it. But she was asking for help. She was reaching out. She was trying to get that better life. But she was a domestic. She was a housekeeper. What was she really searching for, or what had she experienced before she became that domestic? I mean, she was taking care of the chief as a widower. The chief was a widower, so she didn't have a relationship with Chief. There was nothing between them two. She loved his girls. His daughters were her, they were her pride and joy, let's say. I tend to remember having a little bit of a crush on that youngest one. If I'm not mistaken, her name was Sam. And she had dark hair. She had braces, I believe, early on in the show. And I mean, I didn't particularly find that attractive, but I understood the motive. I probably should have braces at that same time, but I didn't. That's why I got this attractive. Didn't work to this day. But anyways, give me the break. The game is survival. Give me a break and plan my arrival. You ever notice how we always were surviving? We was scratching and surviving. Now she needs a break. The game is survival. We were barely holding on, but yet we were singing and we were dancing and we were acting and we were entertaining people. We were on the come up because we were so fucking far behind due to 246 years of free labor. And at this time, in the 80s, we're talking about what, 120 years of oppression, systemic oppression. I mean, I just really want to know what Nell was thinking. Give me a break, for heaven's sake. What happened to my piece of cake? I mean, they want everybody to seek that piece of American pie. Nell was looking for a piece of cake. She wanted something. She wanted something that she could call her own. And for some reason, she wasn't being able to get that. What'd you say, Brother Otis? She took care of the police chief and adopted son on the show. Now, that was Joey Lawrence. He had one of them haircuts where they just put a bowl on his head and he just cut around it. Joey was his name. Yeah. Okay. So that is where we were. I just want to know, like, what brought her into being a domestic, because I've never heard that backstory. And then it came to 1983. That was 81 to 83 that they ran that jingle. Then they changed it around. And I don't know exactly why they changed it around. Obviously, it wasn't in that meeting. I was in 8th grade. And the song went like this. Give me a break. Now I know what it takes. I'm putting on a new face. I'm putting a new face on the old one, ready for anything. So we go back to the first stanza. Give me a break. I sure deserve it. It's time I made it to the top. Give me a break. I'm looking forward. Get behind me. Pull out every stop. Now the first stanza is, give me a break. Now I know what it takes. She was still a domestic. She really hadn't moved much. She probably got a pay hike because, she probably went to Chief and was like, look, you got these 3 badass girls, in their teen years, and they doing some shit that they shouldn't be doing out here. So I'm doing a little extra laundry. I'm doing a little extra babysitting. I'm doing a little extra counseling, mentoring, all kinds of shit. And Chief was a widower. So he didn't have no woman around to help his daughters learn how to become women. Remember the old one? She had a whole bunch of boyfriends. The old one was like Thelma. Remember, Thelma had a whole bunch of boyfriends on Good Times. Thank God Thelma never got pregnant because she had a bunch of boyfriends. And they wasn't the kind of dudes that she had where they wasn't really like, hey, they're like, hey, I can have a girlfriend anywhere. Thelma was a girlfriend. So don't even try to say that Thelma wasn't doing that thing. But we go from 81 to 83 and it says, give me a break. Now I know what it takes. I'm putting a new face on the old one, ready for anything. That shit didn't even rhyme. I don't know where that came from. You always find a cute guy that I talk about free to comment on. I'm noticing a pattern here with you. So the second stanza, playing with fate, not a moment too late. I'm showing the world nothing can get me down. Hoo. Give me a break, yeah. Give me a break, because I sure need one. Give me a break, yeah. I finally know where I belong. Give me a break, yeah. Give me a break, because I sure need one. Give me a break, yeah. I finally know where I belong. Okay, so that's making a little bit of sense right there. Because now she's been with what's his name, Kaczynski, something like that. She's been with the Kaczynski family for a few years. So now she says, I know where I belong. So now she feels at home. She feels like working for the chief and working with the girls. They're family now. We're a couple years in, okay? So I understand that part of the new version of Give Me a Break. I get it. So I can fuck with that. Joey Lawrence had a hit. Y'all shooting him in here. Hold on a second. The bangs on Joey, the bowl cut. Oh, yeah, he did sing. What'd you say, Elder? Carter had an intervention by friends, one of whom was Liza Minnelli, and a trip to rehab. Yeah. I had heard about her bouts. She liked cocaine. And like many of our stars did, our actors and actresses and athletes at that time, it was the drug of choice. It was the drug of prosperity. It was well before, we got into the crack era and all that stuff. I think she ended up going through a bout with that too, but she started out, doing, doing coke. And, Elder, you probably remember this, and some of y'all probably remember this in the streams. Remember how the shapes of people's noses changed through the course of the 70s and 80s, and you can end up telling that they were doing drugs? It was very telling, when they were doing cocaine, because their shapes of their noses changed. And it wasn't just about sniffling and wiping their nose a lot. A lot of times the structure, would change in a person's nose, and cocaine is so powerful, they say that shit eats away all that stuff up in there. I remember her and Liza were real time. Okay, see, I didn't know that. Maybe because they were performers, because they were stage performers. Liza Minnelli has always had a fondness for melanated people. So, because they were stage performers and came up that same way. After recovering, okay. After recovering from a double aneurysm in 92, continue to work through the 90s. Wow, a double aneurysm. Most people die on an aneurysm, don't they? She had a double aneurysm? God damn. And came back to perform and came back to do her thing. See, that's talent. That's talent. I mean, you can say what you want about people when they go through this shit, but she literally had a double aneurysm and came back to work. That's awesome. So the two different songs, I figured out, I know why she said, I finally know where I belong, because she's with the family. And she said, I know what it takes. I'm putting a new face on the old one, ready for anything. See, I don't really know what that means. I don't know how she put a new face on the old one, because she really never changed character through the show. She might have became more maternal, and I think that was because she just dug her heels in on the role. The one thing that I have to say, oh yeah, she did Dreamgirls. And see, we don't really know Dreamgirls before Jennifer Holliday, because Jennifer Holliday won all the awards, but she did Dreamgirls before Jennifer Holliday. You know, like I said, I thought I had heard correctly, and Brother Otis, I appreciate the elder putting that information up there, that she had really made her bones on the stage well before we knew her, you know, on the screen. Yeah. Yeah. So you're looking at someone and you're seeing the metamorphosis of their face, and you see that structure changing. At this point, I'm a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old. I'm not thinking that she's on drugs. I'm not thinking, you know, I don't know why, but I remember she literally had a cute nose. And then if you look at her near the end of her career, her nostrils started to perk a little bit more. And I think it's because the structure of her nose changed due to her habits. Yeah. I find it difficult to sit here and be able to put a critical eye on this now, when they just allowed her to perform that way. They knew what kind of problems she was going through spiritually, because you are going through some spiritual roller coasters when you're on that shit. I've never been a cocaine addict. I've known a number of people who have gone through it. My addiction was food. You know, my addiction was food. My addiction was something that was, you know, could have carried me up out of here the same way. You know, but she had to have those problems outwardly, to the point people should have known, and people didn't say anything because she kept singing and she kept dancing, and that's a problem. They use us for our talents, they use us for our skills, but our well-being. See, here's the thing. I'd be willing to bet you anything there was a replacement for Nell. There was another bountiful black woman waiting in the wings in case Nell Carter fell off. Because if the show was making money, they'd have no problem with interchanging that part. If one person fell off and we'll interchange the part, they could have easily Aunt Viv'd her. You understand me? They could have easily but could you do the same thing? Could you act the same way that Nell acted? Could you have been that maternal spirit the way she was? Could you have sang the way she did? They would have had to have rewritten the whole script, just like they did with Fresh Prince. You know, no disrespect to Daphne Reed, but she was no real Aunt Viv. What's her name? Janet Hubert? She was not her. Decent actress, but Janet was a stage actress, screen actress. I think she sang and did all kinds of stuff. She was really, really accomplished, and she just seemed to she just seemed to better that role than Daphne did. And I think Daphne was at a disadvantage because she came in late and she was trying to fill those shoes. Maybe she had been the first Aunt Viv, maybe we would have felt differently. But Janet, I still think, was the real Aunt Viv. And, you know, how else would you have gotten, you know, Carlton and Ashley, you know? Philip and Daphne, you know, they could have got, you know, Hillary, but you wouldn't have got Carlton. You wouldn't have got Ashley if you didn't have Janet. I don't know what they thought they was pulling there. Who is it? Nazaki on the Broadway Connection. I don't know who that person is. Janet did bring the realness to the show. Yeah, she brought real mom isms to the Fresh Prince, and I believe that Nell brought real mom isms to Give Me a Break. See, this wasn't about shitting on the show or the song or anything. I just wanted to know why they sung the lyrics that they sung, because it doesn't really fit into what that show was about, or at least what I saw for the 5-6 years that I was a pretty dedicated viewer of it. And I've seen it several times outside of or in my adult life, and broke some of those episodes down like, oh, that shit wouldn't happen in real life. But, you know, it was what it was. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm not hip. I'm not hip. But, you know, that makes sense there. Appreciate you, Free. But yeah, she had bouts and she had issues that she was dealing with as she continued to perform week in and week out. Week in and week out, she performed and she was doing cocaine, and, you know, I'm sure she sipped. I don't know. I never really heard her talk about liquor, but I think I remember seeing her at some cocktail parties back in the 70s or 80s or whatever, and she'd be with other celebrities. I think I remember seeing her with a glass in her hand, but, you know, it's just a part of the picture, you know. They really didn't put glasses down back then to take pictures. They'd have their shit right in their hand. They weren't trying to get politically correct. You know, I mean, you looked at some of them photos and some of them nightclubs, some of them tabletops was dusty. You know, some of them damn tabletops had a little bit of cocaine residue on them, and they got that snapshot, and it still ended up in ebony. So it didn't really matter, you know. Didn't really matter. But, yeah, she was in a lot of pain dealing with drugs and having to perform at a high level like that. She was dealing with a lot of pain. And I really wish, you know, somebody would have helped her, you know, but to make it back from a double aneurysm and go back out and perform at a high level, that is crazy, you know? Okay. Word up. Word up. Appreciate you, Free. You know what? Ooh, that was bad. I've yawned twice on a stream in the last month. Somebody telling me something. Give me 1 second, because I asked for it, but I don't think y'all understood me, or you just ignored me and said, fuck you, I ain't looking that shit up. But I do appreciate all the information that y'all are looking up. So I asked about Gary Coleman and what his salary was at the height of Different Strokes, the height of his run. And it gives me one here. It says at the height of his run, it was $70,000 per episode. $70,000 per episode. Okay. And he had to work to get to that. So I think they started in that 45, 50 range, and he got up to 70. So Gary Coleman at the height of Different Strokes was making about $1.8 million a year. So let's say he did that for 3 years, 4 years. I don't know. I forgot how long Different Strokes was. What was it, Different Strokes? How long Different Strokes run for? Hold on. I should know that since I ran all that shit. Because he was the star of the show. So when they came in, he was making a ton of money. The show ran from 1978. Let's see here. From 1978 to 86. It's crazy how they moved them. They were on NBC from the start. I remember that. And then the last year they ran on ABC. They just moved the whole show from NBC to ABC. You know, sounds like it was like a trade. Like, we'll give you this. You know, they're not really popping anymore, so we can move that shit over to ABC. And obviously, they did this right around the time that the Cosby Show was starting to hit their stride. So there was no more room for Gary Coleman over on NBC. Bill had took over. NBC. And what you talking about, Willis, had to move. So Gary Coleman was worth $75,000 when he died. $75,000 when he died. He made $70,000 per episode at his highest height. And I'm not saying that's even the last year, because when you get moved to another network, doesn't necessarily mean you're getting a better or an uptick in pay. You're kind of compromised because your major market share is where you start. I mean, he brought NBC up. NBC was losing some shit because Sanford and Son was going down and all that shit in the late 70s. So he helped revive NBC with some shit. And the thanks they showed him was to ship his show off to ABC. But somewhere in there, he was making $70,000 per episode. But he died and he was only worth $75,000. I've been hearing a lot, you know, they said that there needs to be a retirement plan set up for hip-hop artists, rappers, or whatever. I guess too many rappers are dying penniless, and you know, they don't make the money after their initial career. And we might be a little late on that because we've lost so many who did live compromised lives because their money slowed up, because the record sales slowed up, because the concert appearances slowed up. So everything slowed up. But with that being said, the record labels know that this is happening, and the record label could put different money behind them, not because they're not making a record anymore, but they should be able to put something together to where if they stay viable out here, the record company's making money off of them just being out here. So why wouldn't they participate in like these old school concerts or, you know, compilation albums? And, you know, I hate hearing an old rapper try to rap new. I hate hearing that. What you say, Elder? Russian says Goldman demand 20. What? to take his picture. And when he tried taking another one as they left the bowling alley, Coleman's wife and friend took away his cell. Wait a minute. He was charging to take a picture? Charging 20? Like he was at a trade show? I mean, goddamn, Gary, you at the bowling alley. You know. You at the bowling alley, bro. You gonna charge somebody $20 at the bowling alley to take your picture. Now, was he allowing them to be in the picture with him? Or was it just gonna be a straight up, I'm in this bitch by myself, you gonna give me $20 for you taking my picture? Was he gonna at least let the kids be in the picture with him? Because the kids might have been taller than him. See, that's the problem. He probably got mad and shit because the kid probably thought he was a kid. You know, Gary didn't like that. He didn't like that shit that he was short. It was cute when he was 10. But you know, when he got to be about 30, he got tired of motherfuckers talking about what you talking about, Willis. And Gary developed a really staunch attitude later in life. He didn't like that short shit. He didn't like that short shit at all. Even the little roles they would give him and shit, his height was a part of his character, and he would have an attitude about that. You took the role, Gary. You know they're gonna talk about your height. You know goddamn well they're gonna talk about your height. I know a lady who actually had a relationship with what? Oh. Would she like to come on, Elder? Would she like to come on? Because, hey, she actually had a relationship with Gary. Hey, I'd like to talk to her. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, Elder. We got a lot to talk about. Appreciate you, Free. Appreciate you. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not. If you dipped in here and you have not subscribed to the channel, don't catch this shit for free. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you know when I'm going live again. Price also defended our decision to turn off the 42-year-old's life support machine. I don't want people to sit here and think I'm a bitch, she says. Gary was gone. His eyes were dilated. Okay. So she must have caught some flack for making the... I mean, that's the toughest decision. That's the toughest decision to make, to pull the plug on somebody's life support. This is absolutely nothing to laugh about, nothing to joke about. And she caught some flack, probably from family or friends or associates. That was his wife, correct, Elder? Weren't they married? Didn't they marry? Or were they just in a relationship? I know he had a serious relationship near the end of his life. I don't know if they actually married or not. And if they did not marry, I don't know exactly what would have been left if he was only worth $75,000. Hell, he fell down some stairs and there was a controversy on whether or not he was pushed. Oh, okay. Oh, ex-wife. Oh. So she still had control of everything. And basically so to keep him from dying alone, she was by his side. You know, I gotta commend her for that. I ain't gonna lie, I gotta commend her for that. You know. Oh, no, you already got that one. Okay. So, yeah. And I know there were rumors that his family lived very extravagantly when Gary was riding it. You know, when he was riding it, I guess, you know, they said his parents did a lot. But Gary also had health issues. And that had to cost tens of thousands of dollars too. And I don't know if when you're a celebrity like that, if you got Blue Cross Blue Shield, do they take care of your health benefits? Does a network take care of that shit? Or are you on your own with that? Because that could easily run into the tens to the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Gary had problems. You know, what do you have bad kidneys or something like that? You know, and then they did everything they could to make him look normal, but I believe he had a bag and all that shit too. Oh, they called her? I mean, I'm really trying not to make a joke of it. Like, yeah, I assume she was by his side when she authorized pulling the plug. I'm hoping that they didn't like text her and shit and be like, hey, what do you want to do here? And she was just, send back the plug emoji. Hopefully, it was a little bit more sympathetic, damn. So she might have not been by his side. She might have just caught a call. Hey, this is Mount Sinai Hospital calling about Gary. What do you want? Oh, boy, that would be bad. That would be bad. And allegedly it had been pushed down the stairs. And would she have been the one who would have been with him when he got when he fell down the stairs? We ain't going to say she pushed him because we weren't there. We didn't see him fall. But would she have been the one who was there with him? Actor Gary Coleman battled major medical problems, including an onset seizure, several operations, transplants, and a lifelong kidney condition. Okay. So he died. I'm telling you, if the elder has a real connection with somebody that had a relationship with Gary Coleman, I'd love to talk to her. And I ain't gonna ask her nothing out of pocket. Y'all know I'm a professional with my shit. I ain't gonna ask her nothing out of pocket and shit. But I might have to keep you up with Elder on that. Free. He already said he gonna inbox me. So I'm gonna when I get off of here, I'm getting right on Twitter, Elder, because I'm gonna be waiting for your DM. Peace and love, Missy B. Peace and love to you. That shit hit me though, because I knew he had made money. I didn't know he was at 70,000 an episode, but to know that he died with a worth of $75,000. I don't know how to put that all together. He made millions of people laugh. Millions. And he died with a net worth of $75,000. Yeah. So him wanting $20 for a picture, he probably needed that 20. It's fucked up as it sounds. He probably needed that 20. I mean, why would he want $20 from a fellow bowling alley patron to take a picture? Y'all walking out the alley, turn around, take the picture, keep it walking. But to want $20, might have needed that $20. He might have needed that 20. After making $70,000 an episode, 1.8 million. And all he had to do was get what you talking about, Willis, right? Every show. He had to hit that on a button. Any of the other shit, it was what it was. It was what it was. But he had to be on key with that. What you talking about, Willis? Google deadly form. Wow. Huh. Huh. Interesting. Sounds like he had some struggles at the end. Sounds like he had more than his share of doses of reality, because I mean, that's such a fall. That's such a fall. To go from being the #1 child star in the world. Because at that time, American child stars were way bigger than child stars anywhere else. I know, you got Asia and you got all these other places now that have really developed their entertainment for their faction. But in reality, there is nobody that is more popular than a child actor, an American child actor. Now y'all got me sitting here, and I'm gonna get off of here because I'm almost got 2 hours in. I'm gonna do this. And this might tell me a little bit of something too. It may not. Sometimes I go down a rabbit hole. That's why I don't tell y'all what I'm about to do, because if it don't work out, then I don't look as bad. Uh-oh. So right in the middle, and I'm going to close up here right after this. Right in the middle of Different Strokes came Webster. I'm going to let y'all marinate on that while I find something to smoke. Right at the middle part of Different Strokes. Different Strokes started in 78 and went to 86. In 83, Webster came along. I'm about to fuck with you real quick, and then I'm going to get up out of here. All you got to do is hit playback. Just hit playback. Playback and start from the beginning. You ain't got to be here with us. You good, Missy? Tell her, Free, you ain't never late. If you show up here, you ain't never late. I respect the fact that you taking parts of your day to be with me and listen to what I have to say. I am honored. Missy B, I'd like to introduce you to Brother Otis. The elder comes with data. And today I'm not really speaking in a political space. I'm speaking about, we went back to some sitcom jingles today. I did Give Me a Break. And once you catch up to that, you'll hear that. But Brother Otis and I have been going back and forth talking about Gary Coleman. So let me explain something to you. So in the midst of Different Strokes, Webster came in. And think about this. I didn't break this down, y'all. When did Michael Jackson carry Webster across that stage and win all those awards? This is the same year that Webster started. He was the darling of Hollywood. He had now become the new darling, and he was a little guy like Gary Coleman. So now he's going to start taking some of Gary's shine. And Gary might have looked at it like, wait a minute, you little motherfucker. I'm supposed to be getting carried by Michael Jackson. Think about it. Think about it. Gary, he might have been pissed. He might have been pissed about Webster coming in and stealing all that short shine, because all that short shine went to Webster. Webster was a cute little motherfucker, and Gary was starting to develop them manly features. His skin was starting to get dark because I think his kidneys was fucking him up. Remember, Gary had that complexion. Gary kind of looked like a Hershey bar, and then he started getting dark and shit. And you really couldn't tell the difference between Gary and Dudley. Well, it was Arnold and Dudley. Remember Dudley? Dudley was Arnold's friend. Now, Arnold was dark, but Dudley was dark. And then Arnold ended up as dark as Dudley by the end of the show. I'm trying to tell you. I'm just putting this up here because I am flattered. But I appreciate you. Thanks, Free. Are y'all with me on this? Do you think that Emmanuel Lewis stole some of Gary's short shine? Some of his short shine went away. Because when you got the biggest pop music star carrying you on the stage for the American Music Awards, the Grammys, the People's Choice Awards. We ain't had no BET Awards back then, but they had all kind of award show. And Emmanuel Lewis was with Michael every motherfucking time. It was like Willie Tyler and Lester and shit. Every time you saw Michael, you saw Emmanuel Lewis. And I bet you Gary was like, that's supposed to be me. That's supposed to be me. I've been the smart mouth little motherfucker for the last several years. I've earned that spot. But Emmanuel Lewis got it. They even had Emmanuel Lewis doing the moonwalk and shit. They maximized all that shit with Michael Jackson. They had Emmanuel Lewis doing the moonwalk, put some glasses on him and shit, and didn't fit right. They maximized the shit out of that character. That was another show, too, where some white folks came and rescued a black kid. He didn't have no siblings. It was just Webster. It was just Webster. And what was it? Was the guy like a football player and he died or some shit? I can't remember exactly how they got Webster. I remember Alex Karras was a football player. How did they get Webster? Did Webster's parents die or something in a car crash or something? You know, they always had us dying violently and shit on these shows. We couldn't just pass away of natural causes and shit. We had to die violently. And then somebody came and swept us through it because they had a nice ass house too. Webster had a nice house. Philip Drummond had a nice house. At least they didn't have nobody adopt us and take us out to the motherfucking country and put us in a goddamn hut. At least when a motherfucker did adopt us back in the day on the show, at least they put us up in a good set. That was good. That was good. Yeah, that's what I thought. They had got killed. And I thought Alex Karras played an actual former football player or something like that, and he had played football with the guy. That's just in my memory. I got kind of like some Brian Song shit going right now. I don't know. But it could be true or it could be false, so don't quote me on that one. I'm not sure exactly how they got him, but they got the little motherfucker, and they took care of him. So, you know, remember his wife didn't know shit about a kid? She knows shit about kids, nothing. You know, and they put her in that role. She was a real sedity broad, you know. She was real sedity, real uppity and shit, you know. And total opposite of Alex Karras. You know, he's just a motherfucker. He'd rather walk through a wall than open a door. He was that kind of motherfucker, and she was all sedity, and here they gonna go take care of a little kid with nappy hair. So, you know, I just look, I think of the scenes that we didn't see, like when she was rubbing the curl activator in Webster's hair and shit. You know, what must that been like when she was rubbing that little curl activator in his hair? She didn't know nothing about that shit. She didn't never rub no curl activator in nobody's hair. Shit. She was. Who is that elder? Heart parents? What? I remember that shit. So it was on purpose. They said that shit. Now, wasn't that the family? Wasn't that the family that the kids never went outside and shit? They always kept them inside. They might have like went out into the backyard or some shit, but they never let the kids out. Wasn't that case and shit? That is fucking nuts. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so was that the hug the police and they got the picture of them and it circulated all around like during the whole BLM time and all that shit? Right. If you don't want no kids, why you adopt them? I mean, if you couldn't have them biologically, maybe God's trying to tell you something. Why would you go adopt them only to kill them? Killed them. You could have just took their ass down to the police station and said, you know what? We can't do this no more. We up out of here. Then you go get your funky ass back in the car and you go drive off the cliff. Leave them goddamn kids alone. The babies didn't ask for that. The babies didn't ask for you. And they don't ask for to go over a fucking cliff. You dirty motherfuckers. They killed them babies like that. Yeah. I seem to remember that too, OG. Oh, absolutely. It's a revenue stream. It's a revenue stream, you know. People use kids all the time for the money. Don't do right by them at all. And here, eventually kill them. Eventually kill them. Right. Foot cramped and hit the gas pedal. Oh, but your foot couldn't cramp and hit the brake pedal? Come on, man. When they say stuff like that, you know, when they say stuff like that, all the way back to Susan Smith, she said she got carjacked and somebody stole her car with her kids in it and ran her kids into the water. What kind of fucking sense does that make? What kind of sense does that make? They're going to steal your car and then we're going to drive into the ocean. They said they could hear those kids crying. They could hear them screaming and shit. Yeah, it's just, you know. Yeah, she said it was a black man. Black man stole my car and ran my kids into the water. We ain't nowhere near the vicinity, and we got blamed for the coldest crime that you could commit. Killing a kid is the coldest crime. It's the coldest crime. The second coldest crime, sexually assaulting a kid. She blamed a black man for stealing her children and running them in the water. When she did it. See, everybody think this Karen shit is new. This Karen shit is old. This Karen shit been around for a long time. Now, and all they do is just not let them be priests no more. How come priests don't go to prison? How come priests just aren't allowed to preach no more? They can have actual proof that a motherfucker fuck with a kid and they just don't let him preach no more. How come the police don't walk in and arrest them motherfuckers? I've often wondered that. Are priests protected? Are they a protected status? Are they like diplomats and shit that they can't be arrested? Even for heinous crimes like sexually assaulting children? What the fuck? Yeah, it is what it is, man. Charles Stewart shot and killed his pregnant wife in Boston and blamed the black man. She did it so she could be with her lover. How'd she think she was going to do that? She didn't think she was going to get caught? It wasn't a very, very well planned out situation. I'm not sure how she thought she was going to really get away with it. I mean, I know they first believed it, and they was probably going around there rousting a whole bunch of black people. But, it didn't take them long, I don't think, to really figure it out it was her. There you go. I'll be watching that Dawson Speak or whatever. Yeah, there's plenty of pastors that go to prison when they black and they do some dumb shit, as they should. What about the white ones? I want to know about the white ones. How come white priests do not go to prison the way black pastors go to prison when they commit the same crime? I'd like to know that. Maybe we should do a whole motherfucking show on that. The statistics have to be staggering. A whole lot of black pastors that went to prison, zero priest. I mean, how are they protected? They know they fuck with, and they don't be just fucking with one kid. Goddamn schools be all boys. They be fucking with the whole yearbook. Yeah. I mean, people just, they just know about the Emmett Tills, and the brother from Tulsa, and through our history, we've always been blamed. Just think well before cameras and TV and all this stuff, how many people of African descent were blamed for raping a white woman. You know what I mean? When we watched the movie, and I believe the true story was this is how it started, how the uprising with the black folks in the city in Rosewood started because a white woman said that a black man had raped her. When we saw the movie, and I don't know how close it was to the truth, she was actually having an affair. She was actually having an affair with a dude, and then she got to talking shit, and then he whooped her ass, and then she started screaming bloody murder and said that a black man had did all that. And when I talk about changing systems, when I talk about, fucking with politicians that advocate for us, these types of things still happen to this day. And judicial justice only happens if you've got politicians who act for the people. They got to act for the people. And just like Brother Dale said yesterday, he said, fuck all the shit. Like when I talked about how come this chick didn't get fired and arrested, he said, we need to say, fuck all the things that happen. What does the law say? If the law says that if you touch a child and you cut a child's hair, that is assault and they should go to prison, fuck everything else, send them to prison. I believe in that. Stop skirting around the issue. If you break the law, go to prison. The only way you're going to stop motherfuckers from breaking laws is just start sending them to prison. See, when you say you did something, somebody did something and they didn't do it, your ass should go to prison because you almost sent them to prison. So your ass should go to prison for the same crime. And the crazy thing is, a lot of time they do if they do get caught because they the motherfuckers that did it. And I believe Susan Smith got life, right? She's going to die in jail, I believe. But the situation is we should be in a position where you said I did something and I didn't do it. What crime did you say I did for? Okay, and what that carry life? Okay, your ass should go to prison for life. Because you shouldn't have said I did it because I didn't do it. And you did, now you're done. Fuck you. I absolutely have no patience for somebody throwing somebody into a goddamn buzzsaw when they don't need to. They don't need to. But that's what they do to us. My brother spent 13 years in MDOs for lying. Wow. Wow. 13 years. Put that up there. That's nuts. Trying to keep up on this chat and having it hit the screen. So when people do watch the playback, I understand what it looks like now when I be talking to the chat and I'm not able to put the words up on the screen. Kind of sounds like I'm talking to myself. But when I actually put the stuff up here, then it's not as bad. What? 60 years. I mean, what are you saying? What are you saying at that point when you give somebody 60 years? Is your brother innocent? I mean, I don't care about pigmentation here. I care about truth. And if your brother is innocent, that's an issue. And Indiana has its own set of fucking issues with melanated folk. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, it wasn't because he was a white girl. It was because he was fucking guilty. So that we got something else to talk about there now. Hold on a second. Oh. We're going to come right back to that. But before we do that, you did this, and then you did this after I asked, was he guilty? So if he's guilty, I really can't say anything positive on a situation like that. And we're talking about sexual assault, I assume. If he's guilty, bro, his ass got to fucking go. I'm coming back to Missy. So the other two defendants who were white got 25 years. They gave him 60. So they just got out or getting out. I mean, we obviously know they're going to use the one big nigga theory. So he was probably the catalyst. He's the one that rounded up the troops. So was it a gang rape? Is that what we're talking about here? You know, I mean, he got 35 more years than his white co-assailants. I mean, they're just getting out, and he's just starting his 26th on the way to the 60th. He's probably going to die in there. But yeah, they both got together and winked on him, was like, yeah, we'll say it was his idea. It was his this, his that. He got the brunt of the charges, and he probably would have served more time anyway, just because Indiana just chooses to do that. They got a color chart. And they tend to give up, bigger prison sentences for black folks than they do white folks. Just kind of the way the system's set up and fucked up. Yeah. It's fucked up. So father must have caught him in the act, because this played out in so many different settings. And father comes home, and if he don't catch you dick deep in his daughter, then you're scurrying for the covers, or y'all sitting a little bit too close on the couch, or anything be happening, when he walks in. If he sees something out of place, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. She screamed rape. If he was dating the girl, how did she scream rape? Did her father not know who he was? If her father knew him already, how did all of a sudden what had been consensual become rape? Yeah, he caught them together. Okay. Yeah, that's what it did. That's what happened. We don't even know if she screamed rape. He might have just called the police. He might have just called the police and was like, hey, this motherfucker raped my daughter. And if you in a certain kind of town and you got a certain amount of influence, they coming to get his ass. They just had the young brother that got killed in somebody's attic. He called the police talking about, police, you might want to send somebody over here. Somebody looks like they shot themselves. What? A kid that just graduated from high school, just went to prom and shit? Oh, he just decided, he's just going to kill himself. No, you came home and he was dick deep in your daughter, and that was the fucking problem. Father didn't know. So they weren't dating, they was creeping. See, they weren't dating, they was creeping. See, here's one thing, and I'm not telling somebody to go date white women. But in my younger years, when I dated white women, I wanted to meet dad right off rip, so he would know who the fuck I was. And the dads that I did meet, they actually kind of liked me. I met several dads in my teen years, in my early 20s. I met dads. I didn't want to not know a dad. See, I came at shit a little bit different, and I didn't know about all this. I mean, of course, I knew about your Emmett Tills and knew about the things and things like that. But this kind of shit right here, you ain't gonna have pops rolling up on me like that. So I always wanted to meet the dad, always wanted to meet the mom. Don't just have me rolling up and rolling out. I need to know him. Shit, I went with a girl and she was mowing the lawn and I pulled up. I got out my shit and grabbed the lawnmower and started mowing the lawn. Her daddy pulled up when I'm mowing the lawn. That motherfucker took me to a Michigan game. Hey, man. That's real shit. That's real. I don't know. See, was she underage? I don't know if that much mattered. The fact that he caught him and he didn't know about him, I don't give a fuck if she was 30. That was his house. That was his daughter. And he was seeing her getting blew out. Somebody got to go. Somebody got to go. He ain't gonna kill his daughter. He just gonna kill who his daughter's in love with. Crazy as shit to me. You know she's obviously enamored with this boy. You gonna blow his ass up. Or when they say they rape, they just send him away. Some fathers ain't got the fucking balls to kill you. They just say you raped my daughter, so they send you to prison, fuck up your life. Either way, it's a bitch move. Your daughter wanted and willingly took black dick. Live with it. But yeah, I always found it very, very easy to find commonalities with the fathers. I always found that very easy. Looking back on things, I might have been the Black Eddie Haskell. I don't know. But I was pretty genuine with my shit. I was genuine with my shit. I think I learned at an early age without actually thinking about it. You got to give a little to get a little. We done been in this bitch 2 hours and 23 minutes, and I appreciate once again Bethany Mayhew, aka B-Roll, founder and former owner-operator of Beezy's Cafe, downtown Ypsilanti, the now defunct Beezy's. It's over. The reign is done. She left in 19, so she didn't have nothing to do with this demise. And now that she's not here, and we're going to talk about it again. What's going on, bro? I'm going to be with you in a sec. We're going to talk about why them motherfuckers got that bitch shut down, because they didn't follow her fucking blueprint. She ran that bitch for 11 years, made bread up out of it, got burned out. They didn't fucking follow her blueprint, didn't want her tutelage, didn't want her advice, and fucked it up in 2 years. 1 year having the pandemic. Okay, I said pandemic. Hopefully they don't take the stream down. They had the motherfucker for 2 years, 1 year with a pandemic. Now it's gone. Now it's fucking gone. I think they should have took B's advice. I think they should have listened to B's people. And then Beezy's would still be open. And I'd be able to go by that motherfucker right now and get me a bacon and egg sandwich on an onion roll, slightly burnt. No, instead, what the fuck we got now is a closed establishment in downtown Ypsi. But that's okay. When one closes, another one opens. And like I told y'all when I muted my mic, because y'all can't hear what I'm talking about right now, don't worry about what closed. We'll be talking about more about what's about to open. Appreciate you listening to Freedmen Media. Missy, thank you for coming in. Scale back, listen to the interview at the beginning, catch all the way back up to this dialogue. OG Classic Jones, free. OGOL Griffin. Otis, I appreciate you. All the information you dropped on us today, kept the chat room popping. Anybody else who dipped in but didn't say shit, I'm good with it. Like this motherfucker, subscribe to this motherfucker, share this motherfucker. This is a great interview. All the content's fat. I mean, you know the content's fire. But this is a great interview today. Otis said I talked a little bit too much, but that was because I was trying to get B up out of here. She had a date. She told me she had a date, so I wanted to get her up out of here. Next time, I'm going to give her one question, and she just going to be able to just go for 15, 20 minutes because I know she can. But y'all be good and be safe out here. You know, they say it's hump day, and I don't know what side you on, but get to the other side. One love.